As much confusion as does exist on the subject of training, and it's almost omniprevalent, there is just as much, if not more, on the subject of nutrition. I hear it all the time with those who call me for phone consultations. One aspect of such confusion about nutrition, which is particularly widespread, is perhaps best exemplified in the story I'm about to relate. Some time ago, I received a phone call from a young man, probably in his mid-teens, who, as soon as he reached me on the phone, launched into what seemed like an endless series of questions concerning certain nutritional supplements. Without even announcing his name, he immediately set in asking me about the merits of a host of popular supplements, including Metrex, vanadyl sulfate, phosphagain, creatine, hot stuff, etc., insisting his lack of bodybuilding progress was due solely to his faulty nutrition. When I suggested that maybe his training might be the problem, he countered with an emphatic no, that he was training properly. Listening to him prattle on a while longer about nutrition, it finally occurred to me that since he was so very confused about nutrition, it was not likely he was clear and clean on the subject of how to best proceed with his training. And I turned out to be correct. I discovered that he was violating all of the laws of nature here. He knew absolutely nothing about intensity or the necessity of training to failure. He wasn't stimulating much, if anything, in the way of meaningful growth. And even if he had been, he was so grossly overtrained, working out 5 to 6 days a week for 1.5 to 2 hours a day, that his body would not have had the resources necessary to produce growth. I finally put a stop to the lengthy catechism and said to him rather firmly, "Young man, you remind me of the individual who earnestly desires a suntan, but continues to insist on making the mistake of exposing himself to the light of the moon, then wastes hundreds of dollars trying different suntan lotions, thinking the next one will solve his problem. Not that the issue of the suntan lotion is completely without import," I continued, "but it only assumes relevance within the context of having satisfied nature's first fundamental requirement, which is the presence of a high-intensity sunlight stress. Do you see, listener, that the relationship of nutrition to bodybuilding is similar? While nutrition is clearly of objective importance in the lives of everyone, it has a somewhat different role in bodybuilding. It is only within the context of having first employed the proper training methodology that then becomes important. And then it is rather simple. In fact, as much confusion as exists on the subject of nutrition, it is really rather simple, at least as it applies to us practically on a daily basis. The one guiding operative principle here is, make a reasonable effort on a daily basis to consume a well-balanced diet. It is interesting to note here that while most Americans are well-nourished, many bodybuilders are grossly overnourished, yet they still don't see satisfactory results from their training effort. This serves only to underscore the point that training is the first primary requirement, while nutrition is secondary. It is only within the context of having satisfied nature's first fundamental requirement, the imposition of a high-intensity training stress, that nutrition then becomes important for the bodybuilder.